She didn't go there to make a scene. She went there to get a job. Alana checked her reflection in the glass of the revolving door before she pushed through it. Plaited hair neat, suit pressed, resume folder tucked under her arm. She had done everything right, studied for it, worked for it, showed up for it every single day for 5 years while doors closed in her face and people with half her qualifications walked through them smiling. Not today. She pushed through the door. The Grand Elara Hotel swallowed her whole. Marble floors that reflected the chandeliers above them. Deep burgundy carpet running the length of the lobby. Staff moving in quiet, practiced patterns like they had been choreographed. The kind of hotel that made people feel like they had arrived somewhere that mattered. Alana had arrived. And she knew it. The sign was right there in the lobby window. Navy blue background, white letters, clear as anything. Now HRNG, all senior positions. Inquire within. She shifted the folder under her arm and walked toward the manager's office at the back of the lobby. Glass walls. She could see the man inside before she even reached the door. Mid-50s. Silver at the temples. Thick hands on a desk that probably cost more than her car. The name plate read Director R. Harlan. She knocked twice on the open door. Harlan looked up. And there it was. That fraction of a second, that small, almost invisible shift behind his eyes. He looked at her plaited hair, her size, the warm darkness of her skin, and somewhere between seeing her and deciding what she was, something in his expression closed like a drawer being pushed shut. Alana had been reading that look since she was 19 years old. She kept her face open and professional. "Good morning, sir." "Morning." She stepped in. "My name is Alana. I'm here about the senior positions being advertised out front. I have my resume, my hospitality management certifications, and 3 professional references if you'd like to." "There's no vacancy." He had not looked at the folder once. "Sir, the sign in the window is currently showing." "I know what the sign says." His voice went flat, deliberate, the voice of a man who had spent decades making people feel small enough to stop talking. "I'm telling you there is no vacancy. We are done here." Alana stood completely still for a moment. Then she turned and walked back out into the lobby. She stopped at the window. Now HRNG, all senior positions. Right there, still up, still clear, in full view of every person who walked past this building. She turned back toward the office. Her voice carried across the lobby floor without her raising it even slightly. "Sir, the sign is still up, right there in the window." She pointed. The chair scraped the floor hard. Harlan was on his feet before she finished the sentence. He crossed the office, stepped out into the lobby, and his face had moved somewhere past irritation into something that had no professional word for it. "Are you telling me what to do?" He was close now, too close. His voice had dropped low, which was somehow worse than if he had shouted. "I told you, there is no vacancy." His hand came up and he shoved her. Not a nudge, a shove, palm flat against her shoulder, weight behind it. Alana stumbled back a step, her jaw locked. Her heart hammered inside her chest, but her face stayed completely still. The lobby had gone quiet. Staff near the front desk were studying the floor. The concierge had turned toward the wall. Not one person moved. She looked at Harlan. And she said nothing. That was what made him angrier. He shoved her again. Harder. Her heel caught the edge of the carpet runner. Her balance went. The folder left her hand, papers scattering white across the dark floor, and the ground was coming up fast. A hand caught her arm. Firm, immediate, certain. He was not someone who blended into a room. Tall, open-collar shirt, dark fabric falling over broad shoulders, and beneath the collar, ink. Black lines climbing from his chest, spreading across his collarbone, crawling up his neck in artwork that was deliberate and unhurried. Tigers, old Korean script, smoke. The tattoos stopped just below his jaw like they knew exactly where they belonged. Sharp face, dark eyes. 31 years old and carrying the specific stillness of a man who had never needed to raise his voice to make a room listen. He had been mid-step through the lobby entrance when it happened. His body moved before his mind gave any instruction. He caught her arm, steadied her, and made sure she had her footing before he even looked at who had pushed her. The woman on his arm pulled at his sleeve. "Yong-Sun, let's go." She was polished, beautiful, and annoyed in the precise way of someone who was used to being the most important person in any room they entered, and could feel that status shifting without understanding why. She reached past him and shoved Alana. Same shoulder, same force, like Alana was furniture she had accidentally bumped. Yong-Sun went completely still. Not the freeze of surprise, the stillness of decision. He steadied Alana first, both hands, made absolutely sure she had her footing. Then he turned and looked at Sierra. He didn't speak, he just looked at her. Sierra stepped back. Then Yong-Sun walked forward, past Alana, past the scattered papers on the burgundy floor. He stopped directly in front of Director Harlan and looked at him the way a man looks at something he has already decided how to handle. "You put your hands on her." Harlan's chin lifted. "This is my hotel, and I strongly suggest you." "It's not your hotel." His voice was almost conversational, which was more frightening than anything loud would have been. "You run it, there's a difference that ends today." He reached into his jacket. Harlan flinched hard. Yong-Sun pulled out a business card and set it on the nearest surface without looking away from the manager's face. "Clear your desk. Security will assist you with the rest." Harlan looked at the card. The color drained from his face completely. "Queens, if this is your first time here, welcome. You walked into the right room at the right moment. I need to know where you are watching from right now. Drop your city in the comments because I want to see where our community reaches. And if nobody has told you yet that this channel was built for you, it was. Subscribe and stay with us because what happens next is the part nobody in that lobby saw coming." Yong-Sun crouched down. Alana was already on the floor gathering her papers, methodical, composed, jaw tight, hands steady, collecting every page like she refused to let them stay scattered. She looked up when his shadow crossed her. He picked up the last few pages and glanced at the top sheet. Alana J. Williams, Hospitality Management, summa cum laude. He handed the folder back without comment. "You came for a job," he said. "I did." Her voice was even. She was proud of that. He stood and offered his hand. She looked at it for half a second. Then she took it and got to her feet. "Then let's talk about that," he said. The office he took her to was on the 3rd floor, temporary space he used when he was in the city. Wide windows with a view of the lobby atrium below. Clean desk. No photographs, no personal details anywhere. A room that told you nothing about the man who used it. He laid out the offer clearly. General manager. Full operational authority. Immediate start. He said it the way men like him said most things, like the conversation was a formality and the decision had already been made somewhere behind his eyes. Alana let him finish. Then she said, "No." Yong-Sun looked at her. "No," she said again, quieter but not softer. "I just offered you." "I know exactly what you offered me." She set the folder on the edge of his desk. "And I'm telling you I won't take it like this." "Like what?" "Like a corrective gesture." She looked at him directly. "I have a degree, 5 years of management experience, a record that speaks for itself. I will not spend the rest of my career in this building wondering every single day whether I got this position because I earned it or because you felt guilty about what happened in your lobby." He was quiet. She kept going. "If I take this job, I have full authority, no interference, no favors called in behind my back, no decisions quietly overridden through the back channel. I run this hotel, my way, or I walk out the same door I came in. And if I agree to that, then we have something to talk about." He looked at her for a long moment. Something shifted behind his eyes, not the calculation she had expected. Something less controlled than that. "Agreed," he said. Too quickly. She noticed. She filed it away. She started on a Monday. By Friday, every staff member knew her name because she had learned theirs first. By the end of the second week, she had reinstated 3 employees quietly pushed out under Harlan's management, rewritten the onboarding language, restructured the shift system, and started an internal HR audit nobody had asked her to do. It was in the audit where she found the first thing that didn't sit right. Buried in the policy archive, hearing restriction language, vague enough to be legal, specific enough to be deliberate. She flagged it, marked the file, and kept moving. She would come back to it. Yong-Sun kept finding reasons to be in the city. His assistant rescheduled 3 meetings in 2 weeks without being asked why. She didn't ask. She had worked for him long enough to know that when he changed his schedule, you moved the meetings and kept moving. It was a Thursday evening when they ended up at the same table in the hotel restaurant. Both working past closing, both pretending it had nothing to do with the other person being there. "Why hospitality?" he asked. She looked up from her laptop. "Why do people always ask that like it needs justifying?" "I'm not saying it needs justifying. I'm asking why you chose it." She thought about it for a real moment. Because when someone walks into a hotel, they're usually inside a moment, moving somewhere new, seeing someone they've missed, escaping something they couldn't name yet, and the space they walk into either holds that or it doesn't. I wanted to build spaces that hold people. He was quiet long enough that she looked up. "You flinched," she said, "when I turned the job down just for a second." "I don't flinch." "You did." He looked at her. "I wasn't prepared for it." "Why not?" "People don't usually say no to me." "Maybe they should try it more often." Something moved across his face. Not quite a smile, something more honest than a smile. "My father handed the business to me at 27, he said. He hadn't planned to say it. He stepped back and I stepped in, and I've been running it with the same systems he built. New properties, new markets, bigger reach, same foundation." Alana looked at him. "Same foundation," she repeated. It landed between them differently than she had meant it. Or maybe exactly as she'd meant it. She wasn't sure yet. He looked away first. Sierra found Alana in the second-floor corridor the next afternoon. No knock, no warning. She simply appeared, perfectly put together, jaw set, carrying the specific energy of a woman who has decided to say something she has been sitting on for too long. "I see what's happening," Sierra said. "Good morning." "I'm not here for pleasantries." "Then tell me what you're here for." "I'm warning you." Sierra stepped closer. "Stay in your lane." Alana looked at her, really looked, and underneath the polished surface she saw something that changed the shape of the conversation entirely. Not cruelty, fear, the specific fear of someone watching something slip away and not knowing how to hold it. "Can I ask you something?" Alana said. Sierra waited. "When he caught me downstairs, did he look at you after?" The silence stretched 2 full seconds too long. "That's what I thought," Alana said quietly. She walked past her down the corridor. Sierra stood in the empty hallway for a long time after she was gone. Then she went looking for what she could use. 3 weeks into the audit, Alana pulled the full archive. She wasn't supposed to find what she found. It wasn't hidden, it was just buried. 12 years of hearing records laid out in front of her. Minority candidates concentrated at entry positions across every department. Promotion rates that flatlined at a specific pay grade with no documented reason. Applications from certain zip codes received and never processed. A quiet, functional, deliberate system built into the language of the policies themselves. She laid it all across the desk and looked at it. She had felt this her entire career. Every door, every resume sent into silence. Every room where someone looked at her the way Harlan had looked at her that first morning and made a decision before she'd finished saying her name. She had felt it for years, and now she was sitting in front of the proof of it. She kept pulling files. And then she found the memo. 1 page, typed, 9 years old, authorizing the framework, laying out the language and the structure of everything she had spent 3 weeks documenting. A design, not an accident, not an oversight. A choice made deliberately by someone with the authority to make it stick. She read it to the bottom. She read the signature. She sat very still. The name was not Harlan's. She didn't sleep. By morning, she had read the memo 14 times. She knew every sentence without looking at the page. She had also pulled every ownership record she could find, traced the hotel group's history backward through every transaction and transfer. Yong-Sun's father had built the Grand Elara Hotel group, had run it for 22 years, had signed his name to a document that explained, with devastating clarity, why doors like this one had been closed to women like her for over a decade. And then he had handed the empire to his son. She closed the folder. She thought about the lobby, the papers on the floor, a hand that caught her before she hit the ground. Did he know? She couldn't answer it, and she could not walk into his office until she could. He noticed before she said a word. She was professional, correct, every interaction clean, every response measured. The warmth that had been building over the past weeks, the late evenings, the conversations that drifted far past anything related to the hotel, all of it had closed like a window someone had shut quietly in the night. He pushed gently in the hallway after a morning briefing. Everything all right. Everything's fine. She kept walking. He stood in the lobby after she turned the corner and felt something he didn't have a name for. He had navigated hostile boardrooms and high-stakes negotiations and conversations with dangerous men his entire adult life. He had never once stood in a lobby feeling like the ground had shifted under him without knowing why. He went back to his office and sat with it. Sierra found the folder that afternoon. She had been watching Alana more carefully than anyone realized. She saw the change in her face. She followed the thread. When Alana left for a site inspection, Sierra walked into the office. She found the memo in 4 minutes. She read it. And she understood immediately what it was, what it meant, what it could do in the right hands with the right journalist and the right timing. She stood there with the page in her hand, and she thought about Yong-Sun in that lobby, the way he had moved without deciding to. The fraction of a second on his face that she had never seen him give to anyone. Not once. Not in all the time she had been with him. She took out her phone. She photographed the memo. She told herself it was about accountability, about the truth coming out. But it wasn't. And somewhere underneath all of it, she already knew that. Alana walked into the executive suite without knocking. First time she had done that, ever. Yong-Sun looked up from his desk and something in his expression shifted, not surprise, recognition. He had been waiting for whatever this was without knowing what shape it would take. She set the folder on his desk without speaking. He looked at it, then at her. He opened it and read. The room was completely quiet. His expression didn't change, but the quality of his stillness moved into something heavier, something that had weight. Did you know? Her voice was level. It was the only question that mattered, and they both understood that. He looked up from the page and met her eyes. 4 seconds passed. No, he said, I didn't know. But I should have. He set the folder down carefully, like it was something that could break. I inherited this, every system, every policy, every framework my father built over 22 years. I expanded it, put my name on it, built on top of it. I never looked underneath it. That's not the same as not knowing, Alana said. Ignorance that benefits you isn't neutral. I know it isn't. The silence between them was heavy enough to touch. I need time, she said. She picked up the folder and walked out. Queens, right now Alana is carrying the weight of the hardest question in this whole story. She found proof that the system that shut her out her entire life has his family name on it. He says he didn't know. And the question I need you to answer in the comments right now, do you believe him? And more than that, does it even matter? Like this video if you are standing with Alana right now. And drop your answer below. I need to know where you stand before this goes any further. He watched her cross the lobby from the mezzanine above. Staff called her name as she passed. She called theirs back. She had rebuilt the culture of this floor in 8 weeks, and every person on it felt it. She crossed the lobby she had transformed, pushed through the revolving door, and she was gone. He didn't move. He stood at the railing until the lobby returned to its normal rhythm around him, and then he stood there a little longer. Then he called his senior team. They told him exactly what he had expected them to tell him. Distance yourself from the hotel. Distance yourself from the manager. Handle the restructure quietly before the story broke on its own. Protect the portfolio. Survive the news cycle. He listened to every word. Then he called the journalist himself. The story broke within 36 hours. Not the version Sierra had planned. The journalist did actual reporting, traced the timeline, found the audit Alana had started in week 1 without being asked, found the hearing records she had pulled, found the zip code documentation, the promotion suppression, the 12 years of evidence she had assembled, and the memos she had pulled from an archive nobody had opened in almost a decade. What ran was not a scandal about a new manager covering for an owner's family. What ran was the story of a black woman who walked into a hotel looking for a job, got shoved toward the marble floor by the man in charge, took the position anyway, and then spent her first 2 months systematically dismantling the system that had been keeping women like her out of rooms like this one for over a decade. Yong-Sun's statement confirmed everything. His father's policy, his own failure to examine what he had inherited, his personal commitment to dismantling the framework across every property in the group, publicly, with full documentation, fully auditable. 3 investment partners pulled out within 48 hours. His board called an emergency session that ran 4 hours. His father called from overseas. "You are tearing down what I built for you." "I'm learning what it was built on," Yong-Sun said. The call ended. He sat in the quiet of his suite and did not move for a long time. The empire his father had shaped and handed to him was still standing, but he was standing inside it differently now, like someone who had been living in a house for years and finally walked into a room he had never opened and found out what was inside. You couldn't unknow a room like that. You could only decide what to do about it. He found Sierra in the corridor the next morning. She didn't run from it. She had never been that kind of woman, and she wasn't starting now. "You leaked it," he said. "Yes." "Why?" She looked at him for a moment, steady. "Because I watched you fall for someone and I couldn't stop it, and I didn't know what else to do with that." He was quiet. "Am I wrong?" she asked, "about what I saw happening?" He didn't answer. She nodded, slow. "Then at least I'm not losing my mind." "Sierra." "Don't." Her voice was firm, no performance in it. "I don't need the explanation. I just needed to know what was real." She walked away down the corridor. He watched her go and he let her, because there was nothing he could say that would make the truth of that conversation land any differently. Alana stood in front of the press alone. No PR team behind her, no Yong-Sun standing at her side, no prepared statement written by anyone else. Just her plaited hair, management suit, standing in front of the Grand Elara entrance, the same entrance where 2 months ago she had stumbled toward the floor with her papers scattered across the carpet, and not a single person in that lobby moved to help her. She spoke for 11 minutes without notes. She laid out what she found, what it documented, what it meant for the 12 people who had been filtered out of positions they were qualified for, and what this hotel was going to do differently. Not as a gesture, not as a press statement, but as a structural, permanent, fully auditable change to every process that touched hearing and promotion in this building. She spoke with the precision of someone who had been preparing for this moment her entire career. Not this press conference. This proof. This room. This chance to say out loud in front of cameras what she had known in her body since she was 19 years old, sitting across from someone who had already decided she wasn't worth considering. The industry watched. Other hotels felt the pressure of it before the cameras stopped rolling. The weeks after were not quiet, but they were clear. Harlan faced formal investigation. His career was finished before the first hearing was scheduled. 3 suppressed employees were reinstated with back pay and new positions selected by Alana personally. The investor pullout damaged the portfolio but didn't break it, and the damage was already beginning to reverse as the public conversation shifted. The Grand Elara's reputation moved in the opposite direction from what anyone had predicted, because accountability in the hospitality industry was rare enough to be remarkable. People noticed when it was real. Sira left the city, quietly, without announcement. Yong-Sun worked. He always worked, but something in the texture of it had changed. He had spent his adult life expanding a structure his father built. He was now, for the first time, examining it floor by floor. It was slower, more difficult, more necessary than anything he had done before. Alana worked too. She rebuilt and restructured and walked through the lobby every morning and greeted the staff by name and was greeted by name in return. And the hotel felt, incrementally, measurably, like the space she had always believed a place like this could be. But there was something she had been walking past every day without stopping to face. She knew exactly what it was. He knocked. She looked up from the desk. He had never knocked before. In all the meetings, all the confrontations, all the late evenings that ran longer than either of them planned, he had always simply come through. But he knocked now, and he waited, and when she told him to come in, he stepped into the doorway and stayed there. The tattoos were visible above his collar. He looked not smaller than she remembered. Something had been set down that he had been carrying so long he had forgotten it had weight. He didn't make a speech. He didn't justify or explain or walk through everything that had happened since she left the folder on his desk. They were past all of that, and they both knew it. "I'd like to start over," he said. She waited. "Not the arrangement," he said. "Something else." He couldn't quite push the words for what he meant out into the open. She heard them anyway. She thought about the lobby, the second shove, the papers scattered across the dark carpet, and a hand that caught her without deciding to. She thought about a memo with a family name on it, and 4 seconds of silence before an answer she chose to believe. She thought about a man who called a journalist instead of a PR firm and sat through his father's fury without flinching. She looked at him, standing in the doorway of what used to be his office. "You'll have to earn it," she said. Something moved across his face. Small, real, the most unguarded expression she had seen from him in all the weeks she had been reading his face. "I was hoping you'd say that. Queens, I need to sit here with you for just a moment before the last line of this story. Because the question that is going to live in the comments for days is this one, Alana had every reason to walk away. From the hotel. From him. From the entire situation that started with someone putting their hands on her in a lobby while everyone else looked at the floor. She had grounds. She had proof. She had options. And she stayed, on her terms, with her eyes open. Was that strength? Or is that a fight she is still going to have to keep winning every single day? I want your honest answer in the comments. Not what sounds right, what you actually think. And if this story found you tonight, pass it to the woman who needs it. You know who she is. Share this with her because some stories are not just for watching. Some stories are for sending. If you are not subscribed yet, stay. Subscribe and come back every week because this channel exists for women who are tired of not seeing themselves in stories that matter. We are here every week, and we are not going anywhere. Like this video, if Alana's story hit something real in you. And drop in the comments, what was the exact moment she had you completely? The next morning, Alana walked through the lobby at 7:45. The light was early and gold through the high windows, and the marble floors caught it and held it the way marble holds light, like it has been waiting for the right moment to show you what it's made of. Staff greeted her by name. She greeted them back, all of them, every single one. She passed the front window on her way to the main desk. The hearing sign had been replaced. Same position in the window, new language, specific and direct about what this hotel was, what it valued, what it was committed to. Inclusive in a way that was structural rather than decorative, built to last rather than built to look good. She walked past it without stopping. She already knew what it said. She had written every word of it. And she had written it the way she had walked into this building the very first time, like she belonged there. like she had always belonged there, like the only thing that had ever needed to change was the room's willingness to see it. The lobby moved around her. The chandeliers caught the morning light. The burgundy carpet held the sound of 100 quiet footsteps going somewhere with purpose. Alana went to work.